Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to a quick update on the school based Medicaid program. I will present on a few KDE and DMS updates, and then we will have an additional presentation from SAPNA, Sergi from CHFS on the MAP documents and making sure you all are all prepared for the revalidation process for this application season. And lastly, we will have a presentation from Vicki Hicks from Gainwell Technologies. So here's an overview of what we will cover today. We'll cover some DMS updates, some expanded access updates, amendment updates, and some information on your annual application. Then we will have a presentation from SAPNA, and then following SAPNA's presentation, there will be a presentation from Vicki. So we would like to welcome Erica Davis to DMS. She is replacing Lucy Sinners, who retired on January 31st. It's bittersweet to see Lucy leave. She was a wealth of knowledge on the school-based Medicaid program and was so helpful. But we are very excited for her to start her retirement, to travel with her husband more often, and spend more time with her family. We are welcoming Erica as Lucy's replacement and have had the pleasure of meeting Erica, and she is learning the program quickly. Please just be aware if you are asking us questions that have to be sent to DMS that the turnaround time is a bit delayed because Erica is still learning the process and the program, and so she is double checking with others at DMS before responding with answers. So, welcome, Erica. So we have a few expanded access updates. I want to make sure everybody is aware that speech language pathologists, CFYs, are now able to bill for expanded access and IEP services. They will only be able to be approved during the time of their fellowship. And then we've also had several questions regarding expanded access and the reimbursement. Several districts have been disappointed with the small sums that they have received, but I want everyone to remember that this is a smaller reimbursement associated with this part of the program, and we have not had a cost settlement. So in other states, they have been very pleased with their cost settlement on the expanded access. So let's just wait and see what happens with the cost settlement. But I'm optimistic that we will still bill expanded access and we will see, a good settlement coming in the future. So this is just a slide showing what Kentucky has been billing this year in expanded access. We are pleased to see that several services are being billed under this program, not only nursing and mental health, but we see some speech and PT and OT also being billed. So this is just a little update about amendments. Please remember that we can only backdate amendments 15 business days. Please remember to fill out the effective date on that amendment form. Make sure you are filling out the entire amendment prior to the submittal. Include all staff that you want an approved copy sent on the Medicaid liaison line. Amendments can only be approved once they are uploaded to GMAP. So if you're sending them in via email, we potentially are not seeing them because a lot of them go to our school-based Medicaid email and sometimes those just slip through the cracks. So there's a file that they're automatically sent to. So please make sure you're putting those in GMAP and make sure to include the current licenses and certifications. Also, we've had a lot of amendments coming in that were not that were after the date of the last quarter, and a lot of people may have not subbed. Like if there's a substitute or replacement on your cost pool list, then we can't really add that person unless you're putting them in or it was an empty space because they won't be on one of the quarters when we do an audit, and then on your cost settlement you will get dinged for that and you'll have to pay back all those fees. So just remember when you're adding a new person at the end of the year that you are making sure that they are on your cost pool list. And if they aren't on your cost pool list, make sure that there is a blank space for them on your cost pool list, or they're a replacement to somebody that was previously on your cost pool list. So it's that time of the year again. It's annual application time, and we will actually be posting this. We are waiting for GMAP to upload the application. They've had it for a week now, so we are waiting for them to have that in the system. We are hoping to have it sent out by Friday, May 27th, and we will the close date on that will be September 23rd. So make sure you check your technical assistance guide for the correct qualifications and licensing prior to uploading your documents. And if you have any questions about your employee ID number, it's not a personnel number, it's a 3-digit code that your billing agents generate. So make sure you're contacting your billing agents regarding those 3-digit numbers. As always, upload that application in GMAP and please label it as 2022 through 2023 SBHS application. All licenses and certifications need to be uploaded under the tab SBHS License and Certification file. Prior to submitting your 22-23 SBHS application, please make sure your revalidation with DMS is in good standing. Sapna is going to go over our revalidation with DMS. We have been contacted by them because several of you are out of date and they have not been turning off your numbers because of the pandemic. But this year they are going to um, be turning off districts that haven't revalidated. So make sure that you stay tuned for Sapna's presentation right afterwards, and she will walk you through the process. Before filling out those applications, I strongly encourage you to go on Kentucky Health Net and make sure that you're in good standing, or if you need to fill that out and get that submitted. So some reminders, these are always reminders. Make sure 100% federally funded employees are not being billed for. And make sure you guys are sending out your annual notifications for all IEP students and expanded access students. We strongly encourage you to stay in contact with Cecilia and I. So if you need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. And lastly, here's some contact information. This is mine and Cecilia's contact information, and then Erica's contact information is on here as well. I added Fairbanks information, so if you have any questions about cost settlement or anything like that, you can contact Kathy or Leslie. And PCG, as always, you can contact Matt if you have any questions about the SBAC program. So please stay tuned for Sapna's presentation, and thank you guys so much.
I am the branch manager over the provider licensing and certification branch. So although we are officially known by that name around here, we are known as the provider enrollment branch. Our branch is responsible for enrolling providers in the Kentucky Medicaid program in accordance with the state and federal regulations, as well as the outlined and approved policies and procedures. Once the providers are enrolled, it is the provider's responsibility to keep their files up to date and also revalidate every 5 years. And as you all may know, Kentucky Medicaid utilizes the KYMPPA, which stands for the Kentucky Medicaid Partner Portal Application. And this is an online application that is used by external users to submit enrollment applications as well as submit maintenance applications to update their files and also submit revalidation applications to revalidate their provider numbers. So today I will be presenting an overview of the revalidation application and how a provider or a credentialing agent can utilize the portal to submit the revalidation application. Okay. Okay. So to begin with, all users will have to create an account in the Kentucky Online Gateway portal. Okay, and once that account is set up, of course, prior to the account being set up, there are a few steps that the user will need to take, to remotely identify themselves. It's an RIDP process, but it is a very quick and easy process. And up on the screen, you will see two options here. So if you are a new user, you're going to click on create an account. And once you click on that account, it's going to take you to the following steps that will enable you to set up your account. And once you successfully set up an account within COG, then you will use the left-hand screen, which is, you're going to enter your username or your email ID and your password that you use to create the account. And you would click on login. Okay. So once you successfully create the account and you log in to the Kentucky Online Gateway, your next screen here is the landing page. It's called the COG landing page. And as you can see, we have the partner portal tile, or a widget as it is called. This will be on your landing page, and you're going to click on the launch button here. And once you click on launch, this next slide is what you're going to see on your screen. And excuse me, and this is called your dashboard. Your dashboard contains tabs up here, such as your application, maintenance, correspondence, administration, and such. So this application tab enables you to start a new enrollment or a change of ownership application if you have an existing provider number. And for this presentation purpose, since we are focusing on revalidation, the providers are going to use the maintenance tab. So as I said earlier, providers can update their file or do their revalidation through the portal. So they will be clicking on the maintenance tab here to start their revalidation process. And of course, there are some links here that will, help the user with any specific topics that they want to research on. And also they have the notifications here on their dashboard. And these notifications are, basically correspondence that are coming out from the portal, and it is notifications that go out to the providers saying your application has been submitted successfully, or if the application was returned back for corrections, then there will be a notification on the dashboard saying that your application has been returned for corrections. So there are different kinds of notifications that you will see. So this next slide here basically breaks down the functions under each of these tabs that I just spoke about earlier. Okay, so like I said, under the application tab, you will be able to submit a new enrollment application or do a change of ownership. Okay, and under the maintenance tab, there are several options or functions you could do. So the first option would be to do a maintenance. And as an example, if a provider is wanting to update their license or their certification, they would just do it through a maintenance function. Then you have the revalidation function. So the revalidations, as you know, is done every 5 years. So that would be the function you would choose. Then you also have the reinstatement option under the maintenance. Now, reinstatements are for providers that were previously terminated for an adverse action or for cause, as we call it. So if those providers, if they are wanting to come back into the program, they have, they have the option to do so, but they will need to choose the reinstatement option. Then you have the reapplication option under here, under the maintenance tab. And those are for providers that have let their number lapse over a year. But the reasons could be just, simple reasons as they just did not update their license for the past 1 year, or they let their certification lapse for over a year. And in that case, and if they want to, come in back to the program, they will use or they will choose the reapplication option. And the last option here under the maintenance tab is the voluntary termination. Now, that option is for providers who no longer wish to continue in the Kentucky Medicaid program and they would like to voluntarily terminate their Medicaid number. Okay, so now this slide shows you when you click on maintenance, what is it that comes up on your screen. So as soon as you click on maintenance, you will be prompted to enter the Medicaid number that you would like to do the maintenance on. Okay, so at this point, you will need to have your Medicaid provider number that you're going to put in here. And you're going to click on search. Once you click on search, the basic information comes up on the next screen. So this next screen gives you or displays the provider name, taxonomy code, the primary address, revalidation date, the Medicaid ID effective and end date and status. Okay, and it also gives you the drop down that we just spoke about. These are the radio buttons, and you can, for this presentation purpose, we are going to do, we are not going to do anything, but you're going to choose a revalidation option here, and then you're going to click on continue. So once you choose on your revalidation option there and click on continue, this next screen is what gets you into the revalidation application. Okay, so as you look at the screen, the left-hand side is called the left-hand navigation menu, and it has all these sections that are built into the application. So it begins with the basic information, and this is just one screen here. So it has your business name or your provider name and other email IDs and other information. And then it just goes down to different sections. And as you keep in mind that these are all on separate screens. And at the bottom of the screen, you will have save and next. And you just need to, review your file one screen at a time. Make sure your information is up to date. And if you want to change anything, you can do so on that screen. And then you just go through each of these sections one at a time. And then you will come to your documents upload. Now, I haven't included these screens for each of the sections because it is pretty much, it's easy from there. You just need to go through each of the screens and update your files. But one thing I did want to bring up here is a document upload screen. Okay, so the document upload screen is built in such a way that it is catered to the provided type that the user is updating files for. Okay, so and again, each provided type has different requirements. So based on since this is a school-based provider type, these are the requirements that you will see under your document upload. So one is the IRS verification letter, and then you'll have the education certification letter from the Department of Education that needs to be uploaded. So you will be prompted on the required documents. If there is a upload required, this is where you will need to upload the documents. And there are, you just need to click on add, or you can click on edit and then change the name or upload a new one. And then you just click on save and next. So once you do all that, you come to the end of your application. So you're ready to submit your application. You have updated your file, you made the changes, uploaded the required documents, and the final stage is your submission. So there are three ways an application can be submitted. Okay. So if you are the provider, so if you are the individual provider, or you're an officer or board member, or the owner of the provider, you will be able to complete the application, electronically sign it, and submit it to the Department for Medicaid Services for us to review and approve your application. Now, if you assign a CA is a credentialing agent. So if you have a credentialing agent completing the application on your behalf or the provider's behalf, they will have to complete the application and then send the application via portal electronically to the provider. The provider then accesses the application through the portal, reviews the application, and then he or she submits the application to DMS. So this is kind of a roundabout way if you have a credentialing agent. But we also have the third option for credentialing agents, who can use an authorized delegate form at the submission screen. So the authorized delegate form needs to be completed by the CA. And once they complete and upload that form, they will be able to directly submit the application to DMS instead of sending it to the provider. So the authorized delegate form basically is signed by the provider or an officer or board member or an owner, authorizing the credentialing agent to complete the application on the provider's behalf. So these are the three options for submitting the application. So this next screen kind of just tells us what are the different kinds of notifications you can expect on your dashboard. And as I mentioned earlier, throughout your application submission processes, you may receive several notifications, like your submission notification or corrections notification, or your application is approved notification. We also send license expiration notifications 30 days in advance. Okay, so letting the provider know your license is expiring, so you need to do a maintenance. Or we also send out a 60 and a 30-day revalidation notification through the portal, reminding providers to revalidate their provider number. And these notifications also go via email as well. This next screen is our support screen. Okay, and it includes the information or the contact information for users or providers to call or email in case they have any questions or issues. So we have a contact center. The phone number is 1-877-838-5085. And for any technical issues, or getting access or creating an account, the original account with COG, any issues with that, you will call the call center number, and the extension would be number 1. And then for any program and policy inquiries, and if you want to just check on the status of your submitted application, you're going to click on extension 2. You can also email for the technical issues. You also have the option to email utilizing this email ID. And this next slide is very useful. I mean, it's been very useful for us internal users as well. So we do have a lot of resource materials out on our websites. Now, when we launched the first time, when we launched the portal, we had some webinars and all that was recorded, and all of that is stored here. So the links, you can go to these links and kind of check out these webinars. Then there are resource materials, user guides, and quick reference guides. So this is a very useful page. Anytime you want to have a quick check on something, this is where you would need to go to. This is our website, provider enrollment website, and then you have the provider summaries. And again, this is just another, it's another web page where you can access the training resources. And once you click on there, you will see that you have a lot of these links that will, get you the resource that you need for, accessing portal or learning how to use portal. So that was the end of the presentation. Thank you.
Hi, this is Vicki Hicks. I'm a provider field representative for Kentucky Medicaid. I work for Gainwell Technologies. Today we're going to go over Medicaid Billing 101. This is the training that we present for all the new providers, and this PowerPoint will be available after this presentation as well. Our agenda today, I'm going to show you the Kentucky Medicaid websites, how to access Kentucky Health Net, what Kentucky Health Net will do for you. We have some contacts, and we'll have questions and answers at the end. On page 3, this is the Medicaid websites. The Department for Medicaid Services is listed first. It's where you can find your regulations, all the information about provider enrollment, and any updates and letters. Then we have Chemis, which is www.kymmis.com. It's where you can find forms that are also needed sometimes for claims processing, not the claim form itself that you'll bill under. We do have training videos on that website. We have provider workshop information, your billing instructions, a manual that goes with Kentucky Health Net, electronic claims information, and companion guides. Companion guides are those items that a software vendor would use to set up your billing for you. On the opposite side, we have Kentucky Health Net. You can get there by going to home.chemist.com, or I'll show you another way in as well, but it will show you member eligibility, up-to-date member eligibility, live information. We won't need patient liability for what you do for a living. We will show you claims inquiry, claim submission. You won't need prior authorization inquiry, and we'll look through the remittance advice. This is what Medicaid's website looks like, the DMS website. Then I've taken you to the provider page. This is where you can find your regulations. On the green items that you'll see, there is a list. You can find your provider type, click on it, and your regulations will be listed on the right-hand side. The next website is chemist.com, and we'll be going through provider relations in just a moment, so you can see the arrow that we have listed there to be able to show you where to find it. I also want to point out that we have site updates. Anytime that Medicaid wants to get information out to providers quickly, that's where you'll find them. Almost all of the websites that Medicaid owns does have a site update, a site message to be able to put out there for you. Again, when I mentioned a minute ago that Kentucky Health Net, you would go to home.chemist.com. There's also a link from chemist.com. So the very first item that you'll see there is Kentucky Health Net, and it will take you to the sign in page. On page 6, this is the Chemist website. Once you go under provider relations, these are the options that you'll see. If we have workshops, you'll find that information under provider workshop. All the training videos that we have made are there. They're training videos for how to check member eligibility, how to read the screens. There's a training video about how to fill out the CMS 1500 claim form using Kentucky Health Net. So those videos are already available for you if you want to use those. Again, there's also the Kentucky Health Net user manual and other information there about billing electronically as well. The very first time that a provider uses Kentucky Health Net, they'll have to fill out this Kentucky Health Net pin release form. And basically, they put their provider number on it, their phone number and email address, put a copy of their driver's license with it, and fax it to the number that's on the form. The email will then be sent with a PIN number that you'll link just one time, just ever once, to make your username and password. The passwords have to be changed every 30 days, and there's a link on there that will allow you to do that yourself. So this is the sign-in page. You would get there again from chemist.com by clicking on that very first item, or you can go to home.chemist.com. This is where you're going to put in your username and the password that the provider set up. If you forget your password or you let it expire, you can reset your password there by the little red arrow. Page 9, this is Kentucky Health Net's home screen. Yours won't look so busy, but I have access to a lot of stuff. But I want to point out that it will do a countdown for you when your password is getting ready to expire. So when you're in there, if you see a little icon like this, go ahead and change it, because that way it's easier to just go ahead and change it instead of thinking, oh, I'll put it off until tomorrow. Account management is actually where you will change the account password. So it's as simple as going in there, putting in your old one, making a new one, and clicking out of that, and it's really easy. Kentucky Health Net is what you'll click on to go further into the system. Kentucky Health Net, again, we're going to go through all the items that you'll see within it. I want to make sure that in the office for providers, you do not share usernames and passwords, because each and every employee should have access under their own credentials if they need access. Because this system is chock full of PHI, we need to make sure it's secure. And again, on this page, there's another message board. This is Kentucky Health Net provider main page. And when you click Kentucky Health Net from the previous page, this is where you land. And this is unique to the provider number that you logged in under. So if you bill for more than one facility, you'll want to be able to switch that working provider NPI and taxonomy. And if you need access or how to do that under just one login, then our EDI department will help you with that. Again, you see the subjects at the top. Those are drop-down items. So I'm going to show you in a minute that under member, you have a drop-down item of this, this, and this. But we also have click links on the side for claims inquiry. If you'll be submitting claims, you'll be submitting professional claims. There's eligibility verification and also provider status. The provider status will give you information about your provider number. So credentialing information will be found there. Very helpful information. This screen on page 11 is Kentucky Health Net member eligibility verification. And again, I told you when you do a drop down, these are the items that you'll see. Card issuance is one of those. Member eligibility verification. If the member is covered by an MCO, there's member information for that. I think those are the only things that you'll need to see. Once you go into member eligibility verification, this is the screen that you'll see. Your provider NPI is going to auto-populate. You're going to look up a type. So you can check by member ID, you can check by social security number, or a case number lookup if you have only that from the local DCBS office. The service type you don't have to do anything with because it's automatically selected what you need, the health plan coverage. That was added with something to do with HIPAA, but we don't use it at all. So just leave it as it is. And then you're going to put in the member ID or the social security number, whichever you picked as an option. Put in the date span that you'd like to look at and click search. You can check for, I believe, 3 years at a time in a stretch, but you can go back as far back as you want. The eligibility will populate. Once you click search, this is the page that you'll see. You have the demographics at the top under member. So this is all the information that the member has given to the local office. You see the current Medicaid ID, the name, date of birth. There's social security number information, the physical address that's on file, mailing address, if they have Medicare, which is possible if the child is disabled. And what I'd like to point out for you on this page is that the eligibility information is going to show you the eligibility group, the program code, which is not so much something that you need to worry about, but the from and to dates of service are going to prove eligibility or not. So under this, the patient's eligible under optimum choices. Anything that ends in CHC is something that you will bill to Kentucky Medicaid. Um, the dates of service are going to show you if the patient's eligible for the time frame that you put in there. So if you need to put something to the effect of this example is 10/11/2021, if you needed to see before that date, you would need to change the dates at the top. And then it would give you all the information. Also on that same page, if you scroll down, it will show you if there's a private insurance that's primary to Medicaid, and that will show under third party liability. Third party liability is commercial carriers. So Aetna, a commercial insurance, is on file for this member and for the dates of service, and you can see the coverage type. It will also tell you by carrier code, so you could click on the link for carrier code, and it would tell you what the address is that you would bill that particular Aetna. Next, we'll go over claims inquiry. So we can go either way. You can do a drop down at the top or the click link on the side. And again, it's going to give you information only for what you logged in as. So if you have access to more than one provider number, make sure that you're in the right provider number access, or it's not going to match a claim for you. So we have that you can search by either a member ID, a patient account number, or an ICN, which is the claim number. If you're searching by claim number, you do not need to put in the dates that are to the right of that. You would leave those blank. But if you're checking for member ID, you'd probably want to put in the dates of service. You can do this by any status that you want. In the claim status, you can see any status. It's going to show all of them. You can look only at denied claims if you choose, or only at paid claims if you choose. And then you click search. It's going to give you this information. All of the claims that populate based on what you ask for are going to populate here and give you the claim numbers. To go further into it, you can click on the claim number, the ICN, and it will show you everything that was on that claim, the status of the claim, and the adjudication dates, and so forth. On page 18, this is how to find the remittance statement. They're listed under RA Viewer. People call them EOBs. They call them explanation of benefits. They call them RAs. So they're known by different acronyms, of course, but every week the claim adjudication cycle runs on a Friday night. And by Monday, all of those reports are listed here. The providers can get the same type of report from a software vendor. They're called an 835. But this, and under the RA Viewer, is the actual remittance statement and holds a lot more detail than you would get from a software vendor. Once you click on RA Viewer and click search, this is a list of what you will see. The run date actually is the link that you will go into to see the information on the document. And these are the Friday night cycle dates. So every Friday night, whether you have a payment or not, your remittance statement will be out available for you. So if we were to click on the run date, this is an example of what you would see. This is the provider banner page, again, where information could land if Medicaid wanted to get it out to you fast. You can download it and save it. These remittance statements are available on Kentucky Health Net for one rolling year. So as the weeks change, one of the old ones drops off. If the provider needs those reissued after that year, those do incur a cost. So make sure that you do download and save them, and those are to be kept for 5 years contractually. This is an example of what you would see inside the remittance statement. So it's going to give an RA number that's unique to the provider, and it's going to list out claims in the middle, whether they're in a paid status. That's going to give all the list of the paid claims. Then the list will flip to CMS 1500 denied, and so forth. So all the information about who the payee is, the check number or EFT number will be there, and the issue date of that remit. And then all the details will show. This is the claim number, the dates of service, the billed amount on the claim. There's the member information, place of service codes, procedure codes, dates of service, everything that was on the claim. This is an example of the summary of the page of the remittance statement, because this is going to show you how much money will be deposited for that week. If you have it an EFT, which stands for electronic funds transfer, that money would be in your bank account the very next week. So if it says it paid on this Friday night, next Friday night you would have that EFT in your bank. This is an example of the department phone numbers that you might need. We have email addresses if they have them. So the first one is the provider billing inquiry. That would be your first stop about why your claim denied. Maybe you don't understand why it denied. You can't ask them to check status for you, because there are so many other ways to check status using claims inquiry or using your remittance statement. So those answers will be available for you, but you can ask any type of claims processing question that you have. Why did the claim pay as it did? Why did it deny for this reason I don't understand? Next, we have the EDI help desk, and those are questions for like technical questions about using Kentucky HealthNet. You can ask them questions about electronic remittance statements. You can ask them questions about access to Kentucky HealthNet. Care-wise, you won't need the Department for Medicaid Services member services. If you have questions, or the provider file, the member file needs an update, that number and email address is available for members only. So you could give those to the members or their families to check eligibility. The Department for Medicaid Services provider enrollment is next, and there's a phone number and an email address that is available for you in case you have any questions about your provider contract or revalidation or changing an address, enrolling as a new provider, things of that nature. You won't need the DCBS office, but it's there for you if you want it. Gainwell Technologies provider representatives, that's myself, Vicki Hicks, and Martha Edwards. We cover the state of Kentucky. Each of us have 60 counties. We do all the provider training, conference calls, association meetings, and any escalated issues that come from provider billing inquiry. And last, we have the Department for Medicaid Services provider services. That's a phone number that providers can call if they have any questions regarding a policy, how things are covered with Kentucky Medicaid, and also questions about updating member files. And again, that's for providers only. This is a list of the provider field representatives. You can see that we have our assigned counties in alphabetical order. So just reach out to your provider field representative for any questions that can't be answered any other way. We do any type of training that you would like. So one-on-one training would involve a Teams meeting just like today. And that is all I have.